Welcome to your quiet moment with Pocket English. Let's close the day together. Don't open your eyes. Stay comfortable because we are going to turn your pillow into your best English teacher. It's dark. You're staring at the ceiling. The house is silent, but your brain is loud. I didn't study today. I wasted my time. And you feel that heavy weight of regret in your chest.
I used to fall asleep with that same guilt every single night. I thought I needed a textbook to learn, but I was just physically too tired to open it.
You don't need a book. Give me 3 minutes of whispering, and you will finish your day with a win.
That feeling of regret is actually dangerous for language learners, isn't it? I noticed that when I go to bed feeling guilty about my English, I actually sleep worse, and then I wake up feeling negative about studying the next day. It becomes this cycle of avoidance. I click on those learn English while sleeping videos, hoping that if I just play audio all night, I will wake up fluent. But deep down, I know I didn't actually do anything active.
Exactly. Those sleep videos are fantastic for immersion, but they don't solve the guilt of the lazy day. We tend to think that if we didn't sit at a desk for an hour with a pen and paper, we didn't learn anything. But the science of sleep tells us something very interesting. Your brain uses the first few hours of sleep to process and consolidate the memories of the day. It effectively hits the save button on whatever you were thinking about right before you lost consciousness.
So if the last thing I think about is I am a failure because I didn't study, my brain is prioritizing that negative emotion.
Precisely. You are saving the stress. But if we can hijack those last 3 minutes, the moments when you are literally pulling the duvet up to your chin, we can tell your brain that English is important. We call this the pillow review method. It is active speaking, but it requires zero energy. You don't turn on the light. You don't sit up. You barely even move your lips.
I love the sound of zero energy. I am usually drained by 11 p.m. If I have to move a muscle, I am not going to do it. So how do we start?
It works in 3 very simple steps. Step 1 is the checkout. Imagine you are checking out of a hotel, but the hotel is your day. You need to summarize the entire day in just 1 English sentence, using the past simple tense.
Just 1 sentence? That sounds easy, but also maybe a bit too simple. How does saying 1 sentence help me?
The constraint is the magic, Jack. If I tell you to tell me about your day, you will ramble. You will get stuck on grammar. You will try to find complex words. But if you are lying in the dark and you only have 1 sentence, you have to prioritize. You have to scan your memory of the last 16 hours and choose the headline.
Okay, let me try this. I am lying in bed, eyes closed. My day was busy, so I could say, I went to work and I came home.
You could, but that is a bit robotic. We want to connect a little bit of feeling to it. Try to find a sentence that captures the vibe of the day. Was it exhausting? Was it surprising? Was it productive?
Okay. Today was exhausting, but I finished my project.
Perfect. That is it. You whisper that to yourself. Today was exhausting, but I finished my project. You are using the past simple, was, finished, and you are validating your reality in English. You are effectively closing the chapter of the day in your target language.
I like that I have to whisper it. There is something very private about it. I don't feel like I am performing for anyone. I'm not worried about my accent because nobody can hear me.
That is a huge part of why this works. When we speak at normal volume, we often get anxious about how we sound. When you whisper, you focus purely on the articulation, the way your tongue and lips move, without the pressure of projection. It is very grounding. So step 1 is the checkout. 1 past simple sentence to summarize the day.
Got it. What is step 2?
Step 2 is the high and low. This helps you build vocabulary for specific things that happened, rather than just the general flow of the day. You identify 1 good moment, the high, and 1 difficult or annoying moment, the low, and you have to name them in English.
This is good because I usually just replay the bad moments in my head anyway. I might as well do it in English.
Exactly. If you are going to overthink in English. But we force you to find a high as well, so you end on a positive note. Let's practice. Think about your day today, Jack. What was a tiny detail that was good?
Well, I had a really good cup of coffee this morning. That sounds silly, but it was the best part of the morning.
Not silly at all. So your high is the coffee. How would you whisper that to your pillow?
The coffee this morning was delicious.
Good. Now let's stretch the vocabulary just a little bit. Delicious is a great word, but maybe we can be more specific. Was it smooth? Was it strong?
It was strong. The coffee was strong and perfect.
Excellent. Now, what was the low? And be honest.
The traffic. I got stuck behind a bus for 20 minutes and I was late to a meeting. It was really frustrating.
Okay, there is a great emotion word there. Frustrating. So whisper that sentence.
The traffic was frustrating.
And there you have it. In 10 seconds, you have practiced a positive adjective and a negative emotion. The coffee was perfect. The traffic was frustrating. You are connecting English vocabulary to your actual lived experience. This creates a much stronger memory trace in your brain than just reading a list of words in a textbook.
I can see how this would help with fluency too. Usually when I try to speak, I spend so much time searching for the word for my feelings. If I do this every night, I am basically practicing narrating my life.
Precisely. You are building a database of your own life's vocabulary. If you do this for a week, you will have described 7 highs and 7 lows. That is 14 specific scenarios you can now talk about fluently. And you did it while lying horizontal under a duvet.
Before we get to step 3, I just want to pause on the whispering aspect again. Does it have to be out loud? Can I just say it in my head?
It has to be out loud. It can be the quietest whisper, barely a breath, but your lips must move. There is a disconnect between thinking a sentence and producing a sentence. We have all had that moment where we think we know what to say, but when we open our mouths, the grammar falls apart. By physically moving your mouth, even in the dark, you are training the muscle memory. You are proving to your brain that you can physically produce these sounds.
That makes sense. It stops me from cheating. In my head, my grammar is always perfect, but when I whisper, I catch myself making mistakes.
And catching those mistakes is learning. Now, before we move to the final step of the routine, I want to mention that building these tiny, pocket-sized habits is exactly what we are about here. If you are enjoying this idea of fitting English into the quiet moments of your life, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We release episodes that help you turn your commute, your coffee break, and yes, your bedtime into fluent moments. A little click from you helps us keep making these lessons.
So we have done the checkout with the past simple, and we have done the high and low for vocabulary. What is step 3?
Step 3 is the tomorrow promise. This is where we switch grammar tenses. We move from the past simple to the going to future. You need to set one intention for the next day.
Okay, this is where I usually fail. I make these huge plans. I lie in bed and say, tomorrow I am going to study for 2 hours and memorize 50 words. And then I don't do it and I feel bad again.
That is the trap. The rule for the tomorrow promise is that it must be small. It must be so small that it is impossible to fail. You are not allowed to say, I am going to study English. That is too vague and too big.
So what counts as small?
I am going to listen to 1 song in English. I am going to read 1 page. I am going to write 1 text message. It has to be a specific, achievable action.
I like that. It lowers the pressure. So if I have a busy day tomorrow, my promise could be, I am going to listen to a podcast on the bus.
Perfect. You use the going to structure. I am going to. This is the most natural way native speakers talk about plans. We don't usually say, I will listen. We say, I'm gonna listen, or I am going to listen. Whispering this helps you practice that natural rhythm.
I am going to listen to a podcast. It feels like I'm making a contract with myself.
You are. And because you are saying it right before you sleep, your brain holds on to that intention. When you wake up, you don't wake up with the guilt of I didn't study yesterday. You wake up with the mission. I just have to listen to that 1 podcast. It changes your mindset from a failure mindset to a success mindset.
And it's only 3 minutes total. 1 minute for the summary, 1 minute for the high and low, and 1 minute for the promise.
Honestly, Tack, once you get good at it, it takes 90 seconds. You can do this while you are waiting for sleep to come. In fact, for people who struggle with insomnia or racing thoughts, this is actually a great way to calm down. Instead of letting your brain run wild in your native language, worrying about bills and work, you force it to focus on English.
That is true. Speaking in a second language is cognitively more demanding. It takes more focus. So it forces you to stop worrying about 20 different things and focus on finding just the right words for 3 sentences. It quiets the noise.
It really does. It turns the worry time into practice time. So let's put it all together. Imagine the scene. You have just brushed your teeth. You have turned off the lamp. It is pitch black. You are comfortable.
Okay, I am there.
First, the checkout. Whisper your summary.
Today was long, but I got a lot done.
Second, the high and low.
The salad at lunch was fresh and tasty. The meeting at 4 p.m. was boring.
Third, the tomorrow promise.
Tomorrow, I am going to watch one video on YouTube.
And that is it. You are done. You can drift off to sleep knowing that your last conscious action was improving your English. You have turned a day of doing nothing into a day where you practiced past simple, adjectives, and future forms.
It feels surprisingly satisfying. It takes that heavy weight off my chest that we talked about at the beginning. I don't feel like a lazy student anymore.
That shift in identity is the most important part. You go to sleep as a learner, not a quitter. And that confidence will carry over to the next morning.
I think the hardest part is just remembering to do it. It is so easy to just scroll on my phone until I pass out.
That is the enemy. The phone is the enemy of the pillow review. My advice is to leave your phone in another room, or at least across the room. If the phone is in your hand, you are consuming content. You are not creating it. This method is about creation. It is about you outputting language, even just a little bit.
I suppose I could put a sticky note on my lamp switch. Just a little note that says 3 minutes or pillow review.
That is a great idea. Just a visual trigger to remind you before you hit the dark. And remember, if you miss a night, don't beat yourself up, but try to make it a ritual. The more you do it, the easier the vocabulary comes. You will find that after a few weeks, you aren't searching for the word exhausting or delicious anymore. They will be right there on the tip of your tongue.
And I imagine this helps with thinking in English in general. If I am used to narrating my day at night, I might start doing it during the day too.
Exactly. It spills over. You might be drinking that coffee at 10 a.m. and think, oh, this is going to be my high for tonight. You start scanning your day for English opportunities. It changes how you experience your life.
I really need this. I have been relying too much on just listening and hoping the words will stick. It is time to actually open my mouth, even if it is just into my pillow.
That is the spirit. We want you to take ownership of your English. It doesn't belong in a textbook. It belongs in your life, in your pockets, and yes, even in your bed. So the challenge for everyone listening is pretty clear tonight, right? Very clear. Tonight, when you turn off the lights, do not pick up your phone again. Try the pillow review instantly. One summary, one high and low, one promise. You have the tools. Now you just need to close your eyes and whisper, good night, and let your English grow.